to share a little bit of my journey learning Photoshop and let you know that this didn't come easy for me. It was a lot of work, time, effort, money, but it really paid dividends for me. I use Photoshop a lot, and I'm glad I learned those skills. Scientists and psychologists tell us that our brain has two hemispheres, and the left and the right each do different things. The left hemisphere controls the right side of our body. It's also where our analytical and logic efforts take place. The left side controls our acquisition of language and use of language, as well as our computational abilities, our math abilities. Whereas the right side controls the left side of our brain and our creativity and artistic abilities, our object and facial recognition, and our visual imagery. It's one reason I think why we see people who are left-handed tend to be more creative and artistic. Now I want to share a little bit of my journey because I'm a left-brained person. I thrive on the analytical and logic, and that probably explains why I really do well programming and software development. I love to code. I think very analytically. The creative side is not something that comes as easy to me. Part of my journey is in the 1990s. I was working at Arizona State University as an instructional technologist, mostly doing some programming and software development. But I shared an office with several other people that were much more right-brained than I was. They were really skilled in doing graphic development and video development and creating websites and web pages. And so I'm very grateful to my coworkers who inspired me to want to learn how to do more of the creative and artistic side of things, and who taught me many things along the way. One of the things that really impressed me watching my coworkers was their use of Photoshop. And so it started a journey for me that continues today. This journey has not ended since the early 1990s. But I'm also grateful to a lot of what I call the Photoshop gurus that are publicly known out there who do the workshops and the conferences and other videos on YouTube and write books and so forth. They have all contributed to my growth. And so I've attended things like Photoshop World. I joined the National Association of Photoshop Professionals, which also got me the Photoshop User magazine. And I'm not kidding when I say I spent a lot of time and effort and money on learning Photoshop. Here's my personal collection of Photoshop books and videos and magazines, not to mention the conferences I've gone to, the workshops I've sat in, the videos I've watched on YouTube and so forth. It's been a long journey for me. So that brings me to my first tip of success in learning Photoshop. Commit to lifelong learning. I've been using Photoshop for over 30 years, and I'm still learning. I'm still learning new techniques. As with any technology, it changes with time, with new versions. So commit to lifelong learning. Now I saw some interesting statistics, and that is that 33% of high school graduates never read another book the rest of their lives. And 42% of college graduates never read another book after college. 80% of families in the United States did not buy or read a book last year. But here's the big takeaway. Reading 1 hour a day in your chosen field will make you an international expert in 7 years. I'm not sure the veracity of that statement, but I will say that pretty much holds true for me. I don't know that I'm an international expert in Photoshop or even in programming, but I've certainly built a good reputation in those areas of teaching mobile app development and graphics. So you can apply this to any field that you're interested in. So some more tips for successful learning. Number one, have a positive attitude. Accept learning Photoshop as a fun challenge. It will not be easy, but I think it'll be fun if you have the right attitude. It's amazing what we can do with this product. I refer to it as magic, but Photoshop does the magic. We just need to learn how to utilize this wonderful tool. Learn actively rather than passively. Make it hands-on. So I'm going to suggest here as you're watching these videos and you see me do things, pause the video and try it yourself. It's been said by psychologists, and again, I'm not sure, I've seen different numbers on these, so the veracity of this may not be 100% accurate, but I think the reality of this does hold true. We tend to remember 10% of what we hear, 20% of what we read, 70% of what we see, but 90% of what we do. So make your learning hands-on. Don't just watch the videos, practice with me. Number 3, apply the learning to your life. You will learn better if you take the skills and the knowledge that I present in this series and do your own projects along with the assessments of this course. That will really make learning real for you. Number 4, as we saw earlier, don't stop just because the class ends. Make this a lifelong thing. My goal in this course is to lay a foundation for you. We're not going to hit everything, but I want to give you a good foundation that you could then go on and continue your learning journey with additional videos online, workshops, playing around with the software, and so forth. Number 5, research. I may present something that just doesn't make sense to you. Get another perspective. There are tons of resources on learning Photoshop. Just Google, go to YouTube, and if you have an opportunity, go to a conference. You might want to search for Dave Cross Virtual Summit. He does this every year. It's a 3-day series of workshops all day long, and they're free. At least they have been free. And you can watch the gurus that I presented earlier present fascinating topics in Photoshop. One of the things I love about being an instructor and being a professor is I love to learn. And I actually really enjoy teaching something that I don't necessarily know well, because when I have to teach somebody, that means I have to learn. So teach someone else, maybe a family member or a friend. Show them what you're learning in Photoshop. Show them a skill. I believe they'll probably be really intrigued with what you're able to do. If you'd like to see more videos in the Photoshop Practicum playlist, click the title at the bottom. If you'd like to be alerted to new videos, please click my photo in the top right to subscribe to the channel.